New Patriotic Party's Kobna Boatin, Convention People of Ejiso in Parliament. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Ejiso, Ashanti region.
I'm going to treat you to stay with all the media general platforms for up-to-the-minute updates on the Ejiso by-election. Still with the EC, Joseph Blank, a 37-year-old database administrator at the Electoral Commission, has been granted bail by the Accra High Court. The third accused had earlier pleaded not guilty to the charges of conspiracy to steal and stealing in connection with the stolen biometric devices and laptops belonging to the Commission. In court on Monday, lawyer for Ejumade informed the Circuit Court that they were yet to serve the proceedings of the High Court on the police for him to execute his bail, hence the absence of his client. The three others, Philip Tete, a 26-year-old labourer, Benjamin Fieni, a security man, and Clifford Yeboah, however, remain in police custody. The prosecution, led by Christopher Wonder, said he was surprised that Mr. Ejumazi had been granted bail by the High Court, considering the national interests of the case. Prosecution also noted that the police has not retrieved the Dell laptops which contained biodata and important information. The case has since been adjourned to May 9. Well, the Progressive Alliance Movement, an alliance of Ghanaians living abroad, is threatening to sue the Electoral Commission for contempt of court, claiming the Commission ignored the court's ruling on the representation of the People's Amendment Law, ROPAL.
Parliament passed the Representation of the People Amendment Law, ROPAL, in 2006. The law mandates the Electoral Commission to make provisions for Ghanaians living abroad to vote in national elections. After the law was passed in 2006, little was done with it between 2008 and 2011. A committee was set up to make recommendations on the way forward to the EC. The committee submitted its report in September 2011. In 2016, the Progressive Alliance Movement took the matter to court, seeking orders to compel the EC to implement ROPAL. Their reliefs were granted, and the EC set up another committee to look into the modalities for implementation. At the time, the AC boss, Jean Mensah, had this to say about implementation.
This means that we have to go to 48 countries, and I'm sure there are more, where Ghana has, high commissions and, register people. I think there's a criteria of registering about, not less than 500 people in each country. And so you look at that. So it's a lot of work that has to be done. Now we are talking about extending to every Ghanaian. That registration hasn't been done. It hasn't been done, and they haven't been provided records, and so an opportunity to register and vote there. What was done in the past was to register, as I said, citizens or Ghanaians working in embassies and with the United Nations and so on, and students who were on Ghana government scholarship, and even then they were voting by proxy. So this is a very different matter. It's very extensive. It's like holding elections within our country, Ghana here. Of course, you have to, set up polling stations all over to enable people to vote, count it, and it's an extensive process.
It's 2024, months to the general election, and there is no clear-cut directive from the EC on ROPAL. The alliance that has been at the forefront of the advocacy will have none of that.
We went through the court system, the judiciary system. First, we went through Parliament. Parliament made the law in 2006, passed it on to the EC to implement. The EC did not. So we took the EC to court, High Court, we won, all right? The EC asked for extension because we brought a contempt of court against the EC led by lawyer Samson Anyinini. And still the EC didn't do anything. So what do we have to do? Clearly, by the statement that Jean Mensah just made, that the EC categorically has no plans to implement, and I'm quote, to implement ROPA for 2024, that means she's still acting within the contempt of court. No, the court said do it starting with the 2020, like you didn't. You asked for extension to show the constitutional instrument to Parliament, and so we can move forward. You didn't. And now you come out to say categorically, who is Jean Mensah to make that categorical statement anyway?
The EC has not been available for comment on the issue. Duke Bento Poku, TV3 News, Accra.
Meanwhile, political science lecturer Dr. Kwame Asasante says the decision of the EC not to implement the orders of the court has disenfranchised many eligible Ghanaian voters. He says those suing the EC have a right to take legal action against them.
I think the EC must kickstart the process. Even if the process is a difficult one, you begin by doing something so that you will include everybody within the system, right? Yes, of course, you can do all of it in a day, but gradually, if they had started by now, they would have brought a lot of people on board. Remember, we are talking about universal adult suffrage, where anybody who is qualified by law, by definition, is supposed to be part of the process. So why are you leaving some people out? Look at the contribution of those people outside this country in terms of remittances and all that. And when it comes to for them to also be part of decision making, you want to chicken out. I think it's a fair point that the people are making. It's a fair demand they are making, and I'm with them. They should press home and make sure that their rights are not only stated in the Constitution, but they are giving what direction by the institutions such as EC.
And Health Minister designate Dr. Bernard Okoboy has dismissed concerns that his current role is unconstitutional. He noted he has received a letter appointing him as a representative of the President at the Ministry of Health. Despite being vetted by Parliament, Dr. Okoboy and his colleagues are yet to be sworn in. He made the observation during a working visit to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. My colleague Emmanuel Samani reports.
The Health Minister designate Dr. Bernard Okoboy addressed his role as the representative of the President at the Ministry of Health. He emphasized that his appointment was aimed at ensuring that key sectors like health are not lacking direction.
Because His Excellency the President doesn't want the country to stall. Key sectors like health to be suffering from lack of direction. Some of us, let me be specific to myself, we've received letters from the Chief of Staff making us reps. I am the representative of His Excellency the President at the Ministry of Health.
He also raised concerns about the National Health Insurance Scheme's coverage for individuals with kidney diseases.
I was the first person to propose to the board that let's have a line in the health insurance budget which we call the Peripheral Disease Fund, so that at least if it do not pay for everything that dialysis patients are supposed to pay, we can pay some monies to the departments that take care of the patients so that they don't do full cost recovery. So if they dialyze you and you have to pay, let's say, 400, our payments can make it 200 or 100 cedis. As we speak, that is what health insurance is looking at.
Dr. Okoboy emphasized the significance of enhancing health infrastructure to provide quality services to all citizens, highlighting ongoing efforts to upgrade medical facilities and equip them with modern technology.
The opposition National Democratic Congress is demanding the immediate termination of all agreement with SML. This is despite government insistence the petroleum downstream agreement with SML can proceed. For the NDC, the agreement must be terminated.
President Akufo-Addo, through his Director of Communication last week, announced the result of a KPMG report into the controversial SML-GRA deal. The president stated that the contract with SML will proceed despite no needs assessment, pending some reworking of certain parts of the downstream petroleum agreement, a position anti-corruption groups have found worrying. National Communications Officer of the NDC, Sami Jemfi, after highlighting infractions with the agreement, called on the president to immediately terminate the SML deal.
The immediate termination of all, not some, all illegal contracts entered into between SML and the GRA. Here we are talking about their transaction audit agreement, their external price verification agreement, and their downstream petroleum audit agreement. Some may say that, oh, the agreements have ended. We don't care. Number two, the retrieval of all payments by government to SML under the illegal agreements which have occasioned a huge financial loss to the state. So once the agreements are illegal, then the state cannot respect those agreements.
The party is also backing demands for the publishing of the report, insisting persons involved must be prosecuted.
The NDC demands the immediate publication of the full KPMG investigative report on the dealings between SML and the GRA. Mr. President, why are you hiding that report? Publish that report now. You who once bragged about being an anti-corruption crusader. We want you to live up to that. Publish that report. We want to know what is in the report. The NDC also demands the immediate arrest and prosecution of all persons involved in the award of these illegal contracts and the payment of these illegal fees to SML.
Director of Communications for the NDC, Sami Jemfide. So as you may already know, the Ejeso by-election is slated for today. In fact, the election is expected to start in the next 1 hour, and we're going live to the constituency. For updates on what is happening, my colleague Ibrahim Abubakar joins us for more. Ibrahim, update us on where you are and how likely it is for the election to begin in the next hour.
Well, Grace, March from SHA, and currently the EC officials have arrived with their electoral material. So we are hoping that by 7 a.m., like the EC boss yesterday said, the voting will start. In fact, you realize that the anticipation is a bit high. We've already seen people coming around waiting for the 7 a.m. so that they will be able to exercise their franchise. They say they cannot wait to elect someone who will represent them in parliament so that development will come their way. So, like I said, the EC officials just arrived.
So stay with us, your election command center. We have all the updates you need on the Ejeso by-election. Well, let's do other stories. Lawyers for Member of Parliament for South Dine have indicated their intention to go to the Court of Appeal after an Accra High Court dismissed an application by Roxanne Nelson, the Fiamepo. Among other reliefs, the application was seeking to compel the president to declare his intent to sign or otherwise the Anti-LGBTQ bill. Lord Edward reports.
Chief State Attorney Sylvia Adesu argued that the High Court would be overreaching its mandate if it interfered by granting the application filed by the South Dine legislator, since the matter between Parliament and the Executive was still pending, citing that the bill was yet to be assented. She also indicated that there were 2 applications pending before the Supreme Court challenging the passage of the bill, and hence urged the court to turn down the mandamus application. But in her ruling, Presiding Judge Ellen Miriku explained that per the processes in the dockets, the High Court had jurisdiction to determine the matter. Citing her discretionary powers, Justice Miriku dismissed the mandamus application after indicating that the Supreme Court should be allowed to rule on the 2 suits before it. She added that it will be inappropriate to compel the Speaker of Parliament and the President to act on the anti-gay bill with the pending suits before the Apex Court. Counsel for Roxanne Nelson Defemepo expressed disappointment at the ruling.
I want to get a certified copy of but I have every indication from my client that we will probably have to go to the Court of Appeal, because if we meet the criteria for granting the remedy and we have satisfied the necessary requirements, the discretion, I believe, should be exercised in favor of the Constitution and not wait and for the Supreme Court to deal with a matter that it has not yet dealt with. What we have is a life matter, and until the Supreme Court deals with that matter, the High Court has jurisdiction to deal with the matter.
The NDC Member of Parliament asked for a declaration that, according to Article 1061 and 7 of the Constitution, a president can only assent to or refuse to assent to a bill within 7 days unless the bill has been referred to the Council of State. He also sought a declaration that the president cannot prevent Parliament from transmitting a bill that has been passed and sent to him. Again, the Member of Parliament wanted a declaration that a letter dated March 18, 2024, addressed to the Clerk of Parliament and signed by the Secretary to the President is in contravention of the Constitution and hence must be withdrawn by the President. Lord Idwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
And definitely the conversation on the anti-LGBTQ bill is one that is not ending anytime soon. But for us here, that's it for our package for the morning news on TV3, also live on DSTV channel 279. My name is Grace Hamuajima. New Day returns after this break. Stay with us.